Today, very often is the question asked to me, hey, what unit should I build? Should I buy this one? Should I do this one? Should I purchase? What unit should I build for Trace Specimen? What unit should I build for Arena? Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you some insider tips right here, and you could reference this anytime you're having those questions. Because the answer to every single one of those questions boils down to this. What are our 3 main goals right now? Well, priority 1 is going to be these Trace Specimens, getting these Trace Specimen floor 11 on farm so that we could get the equipment that we need in order to carry us through the game, because you can't do anything without the equipment. All right, next very important thing is going to be Guild Raid Boss. The better we're doing on Guild Raid Boss, the more Neostones we're going to get. We're going to get a lot of gems weekly so that we could do our SSR card pulls and all that good stuff. Plus, this will land you a spot in a really top-end guild if you have a very good guild raid score, because this is what guilds are looking for right now, so that whenever raid or guild battles and guild wars come available, the PvP version, you'll already be locked into a slot on a good guild. And the last sort of in-game goal that we're looking for is trying to achieve a reasonable level on the arena so that every week whenever it resets, you get another handful of gems to spend on building your units. So that seems like a lot to worry about and a lot to focus on, but I actually have good news because it's labeled on each of those categories what the top units are. Now, if you want to compete with the top players and you're looking to achieve a very high guild raid score, I'll tell you the trick to people doing this is this raid mercenary list up here. So if you click this question mark next to raid mercenary, it tells you all of the raid mercenaries that get an increased attack by 300% in the raid battles, and this cycles every week. So we're going to be taking a mental note of these mercenaries because these are the key to achieving a high raid score and maintaining your spot in one of the top guilds. And I'll show you how we're going to choose which ones we actually build, because we obviously can't build 12 units. We're going to use process of elimination. So on screen, I'll go ahead and put Nacri, Cairo, Scarlet, Tarak, Anastasia, Marissa, Isaac, Chapman, Clara, and then Examina, Anton, and Iron. Now, you're probably going to want at least one of these units every single week, because it's not going to help you to be doing, upwards 600,000 or 1.6 million if you're only doing that 1 week, and then every other week after that, you're just doing, 400,000 or something like that. So no, we don't have to pick all 12 of these units, but it will be nice to pick 1 for each week or 2 for each week. But for now, we're going to keep them all up on screen until we eliminate some of them by checking the other top used mercenaries in other content. So we already know the mercenaries that we have picked out for raid. Now let's go ahead and dive into some of the trace specimens to see what mercenaries are recommended for the end-game trace specimens. Here in the strategy details, we're seeing Nacri, Kairos, so those are already on our list, so those guys can stay. We're seeing Lakshmi here, we're going to save Lakshmi for later. She's actually being added onto the list. And then we see Tarak, so Tarak staying. We see Marissa, and we see Chapman. So if you have those units and you're building those units for Guild Raid, then they're also going to be useful for Trivia 11. Now, of course, not all of the equipment is at Trivia 11, so you also have to look at the strategy details for Isard 11. In Isard, we're seeing Lakshmi again. Christopher is another unit we'll be adding to the list tentatively, and you can decide whether or not you want to keep them there. Now, we see Tala, Examina, Kairos, Marissa, Nacri. So these units are definitely staying on our list. We have not quite eliminated anybody yet because we haven't seen who is useful for our last in-game goal, the arena. So just like all the other things, if you go into the arena and you just go into the ranking, you can see the top 50 players and the units that they're all using. Now here's something about seeing Nima right here in number 1. We're seeing Nima 3 times in the top 5 teams. We're going to have to add Nima to our list because this updates daily based on who has the number 1 spot. But the thing about the trace specimen strategy info is that does not update daily. It has taken an average of the most successful mercenaries used in successful runs, and that's why they're on that list. But Nima is a new mercenary, so she cannot make the strategy details yet for Trivia or Isard because she just simply hasn't been used enough because she hasn't been out long enough. So Nima is also going to be making a list of mercenaries we might be thinking about building. So again, we're seeing Tarak in the number 1 spot. We're seeing Lakshmi, Nima. We see Examina, Christopher again. There's a Marissa, there's a Chapman, Kairos, Tarak again. Nacri is here as well. So we're starting to see a pattern. All of the units that are being recommended to us in the top PvE content can also be useful in top end PvP content. So yeah, the units left on screen are units that would pretty much be viable for almost all content in the game. Almost every in-game content goal that you had, these units could help you accomplish that. So say if we were going to pick and choose some units to form our team, now we're going to do this hypothetically so that I can show you how to build these guys in case you were wondering like, oh, well, now that I've gotten these units, I don't know what equipments to put on them. So for this scenario, we're going to keep Nacri, we're going to keep Tarak, we're going to keep Chapman, and we're going to keep Examina, and we're also going to pop on Lakshmi as our support since she was so useful in so many places, and we can also use her in Guild Raid. Even though she's not on the list for increased attack, she's still very, very used in Guild Raid. Okay, so Nakri, Tarak, Chapman, Examina, and Lakshmi. Now that we've picked 5 units that we're going to start building, let's go ahead and see how we would build them because, of course, it doesn't just hand you a guide, but actually other players are handing us guides at this point because if you go into the virtual training, you go into the hero challenge, you can see if you click on one that you're interested in. Let's click on one of the units from our team. We'll do Nakri. These are the top players that have Nakri. This is like the score of your Nakri. This is the score of your mercenary. And these are the best players with the best Nakri and the best of that mercenary. They actually have it to where if the player so chooses, you can inspect their mercenary and see what they're building. So if we had no clue what to pick and we clicked on Uroburu's Nakri, we can see he has her on a violent set and a conquest set to increase effect accuracy and increase attack percent because poison does bonus damage based on your attack percent. The only equipment that has any sort of different main stat, the substats are different on every equipment, but the main stat is the same on the weapon, the armor, and the belt every single time. The only armor or the only equipment that differentiates that main stat is going to be the gloves, the ring, and the shoes. So we have to inspect we see he's using attack speed on his gloves, attack percent on his ring to increase the damage of poison, obviously, and attack speed and attack percent on his shoes to increase the damage of poison, with the attack speed just making him take more turns. We can even see the rage card he's using. It's going to be a fast sniper rage card that increases all rangers attack speed by 10% when the battle begins. We can look at the substats he's going for. He has a lot of attack speed on the weapon. He seems to have a lot of attack speed on the armor. Pretty much just going for attack speed and substats. He has pretty good attack speed substats, and he's mostly focused on accuracy and attack percent. But if you're not a fan of that build and you think maybe that's not what you want to build, you can also check everyone else's Nakri as well. Now we could move on to Lakshmi and we could see who some of the top players are using for Lakshmi. This guy has a lot of HP on his Lakshmi because her heals are based off HP. He's using a rage card that increases the dealer's attack, so she can be even more supportive to the dealers on the team in ways of more than just healing and sharing damage. You can do this for every single character. You can see what equipment you want to go for. And this is going to give you a very good base for the new content coming up because Arena is sort of just a fun little thing to do right now. Of course, in other games, there's like a real-time Arena, which is what we'll be waiting for. The new content is really what we do now is going to make or break us when the new content comes out, because whenever Guild Wars come out, it's going to be embarrassing seeing that, CVMG has lost a battle. CVMG has lost a battle. You don't want that. So you want to go ahead and build yourself up now. Get yourself some units that are pretty good in all content so you don't, like me, I'll go ahead and admit, I made the mistake of whenever I started the game, I just went through and saw all the units I liked their kit, and I built all those units instead of waiting a little bit and saving my resources to see who would help me where. Now I have a Nadine that I only use in one place. I have a Farias that I only use in the arena. I have a Josephine that I don't use anymore at all. And yeah, so like I just essentially wasted a lot of time and resources building these units whenever I didn't understand what my goal was. So hopefully this helps you understand like what the goal is right now, because 6-star equipments will be coming in the future. So you will want a team to farm those higher levels of trace specimen or the higher levels of PvE that get us those 6-star equipments. And then at that point, everyone with 6-star equipments, the best 6-star equipment is going to run the arena, just completely trample over everyone with 5-star equipments. Guild Wars comes out, you want to be able to perform well for your guild. And then whenever real-time arena comes out, that's the real fun, is the PvP content, in my opinion. So Guild Wars and real-time arena is definitely what we are working towards at this time. So hopefully if you had any questions, that could help alleviate them. But if you still have questions, feel free to jump in the Discord. We have new players and veterans alike in there that like to help. We help each other out. But other than that, y'all, that's going to do it for me today. I'll see y'all later. Bye.